Okay. Good morning or good evening, Gaelle. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
good
for
evening,
joining.
good morning.
Right, I know. So you're joining us from Brussels. That's right?
Yes.
Okay. And the occasion for this little podcast is because next week and for 2 weeks, we're going to be in the United States doing a little
Mhm.
tour. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I'm leaving like in 2 days.
Okay. And so I think you're going to hit Los Angeles, Brownsville, Texas, and you're going to come to San Jose as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that tour and what you've been doing, touring, playing guitar, and all that.
Great. Yeah, so I'm really happy because it's like I've been touring in the States since more than 20 years, which is quite a lot. Coming there around once or twice a year. At the start, like very little concerts, little fees, little everything. And little by little, I really have the feeling I've been doing like all the steps, little by little, and also building nice links with people, programmers, and just making it very smooth. And also, the audience has been always very responsive. So I'm invited back. So that's a good sign always.
Yeah, it's a very good sign. No, my first introduction to you was I saw a video of you doing some Brazilian scatting and playing the guitar in a classical guitar concert, and that's when it caught my attention because we all go to these too many guitar concerts and it's kind of too much leyenda, that kind of a stuff, right? And can you tell me, because I felt that sort of controlled chaotic energy when I saw you scat. Can you tell me how did you get there?
Yeah, it has been a long process. So I think like when I started, first of all, I never like wanted to be a classical guitar player. So
Mm,
I started with the guitar. Just it was fun. My teacher was awesome, René Bartoli, and I just did it like very naturally. And when I finished my first diploma, I was 14, which is quite young, and I had no clue it was young or no clue it was something. I was just practicing and playing. And then at this point, my teacher said like I should continue, and I thought about it, and I had two options. I wanted to study mathematics or maybe music, or my first goal was to be a dancer, so it was very open.
mm.
But I picked music, and I think it was a really good idea for me because you can really do plenty of things. And but I did really the traditional way. So I did competition. I was playing classical repertoire and all the steps. And one day I went to Brazil, and like all my little cathedral just
Mm.
collapsed.
Yeah, well,
And I understood like there was plenty of things I needed to practice and study that I was interested in, like learning more about rhythm, about popular music, playing different kind of techniques on guitar, learning also theatrical skills to
mm.
be more at ease on stage. So I started since, I don't know, like nearly now more than 14 years, this long path about learning plenty of different things away from the classical guitar. And everyone has been asking, but so you're not going to play any more classical guitar? And I'm like, no, not at all. I'm going to keep doing this, but with new stuff inside. So I have no clue where I am going, but I'm just going there. But
Yeah.
I feel I need new inputs and new info, new food for my soul, for my fingers, for to keep going.
Tell me if this is accurate, because it's like that there's a very powerful classical foundation. It's kind of like saying this is where we came from, but you have to build a new future for yourself, and that's discovering who you are and your voice and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, this is the most important thing is
Mm,
to figure out which music you want to defend, which music you want to play, which music you like to play. Really, it's not rude to say if you like really something that you're going to be more interested. It's going to be easier to research.
mhm.
And of course, we had trained to play everything from Renaissance to contemporary music.
Yeah.
But of course, we all have things that you say, "Oh wow, this music I really it speaks to me, and I really want to go more into that." So I think this is like a life path that you really choose what to focus on, and you do it 100%.
Yeah.
And when I go to concerts, also, I'm very always interested when I see a program that is unique. I'm like, wow, I like this. I didn't know this piece. When I see a typical program, it can be really nice, but I don't know. I really like to be surprised.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think one of my most depressing states was when I was around 31 or 3, something like that. And I did my last competition and I did okay, just to the semifinals. But I was in this really bad place in my life because I didn't know what music I wanted to play. I was just going through the motions. And Artyom Dervoyed won that competition. And so I was on the bus with him. I knew him from Oscar Gaelle's masterclass in Siena. And I just asked him, like, how do you choose the music you like? Because he seems to have such an easy time on the guitar. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Play music you like."
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so dumb,
Totally.
but it's
It's a
true.
very good advice.
Yeah. And that's when became very clear to me that I don't know what music I like. And there was a problem. There was a time of 5
Exactly.
years. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time. And sometimes at that point, you can get lost and say, okay, so let's go back to the traditional way where I just play this and that's it. So it's like the comfort zone. But then when you go the other way, it's like, what do I like? And will I be good at it? So you have no idea. So you have to make a lot of trial, error, and just find out. And when you finally go out of this really tricky time, then you find it. And then when you know how to search, like, so now I'm going for my next project, so also going again this path, like, and then you find it, and then you're like, okay, so each time it's going to be like this big tree with plenty of different, but it's a solid one because
Mhm.
it's built on really connected to your earth, your brain, and everything. And if you like it, it's like it's impossible you're not going to defend it well. It's, of course, it's
Yeah, Gail, I love
not an
that.
option.
Yeah, I love that. I was reading the Cleveland classical guitar interview, and you were talking about when you quit your job in Spain. You taught there for 7 years,
Mhm.
and you went to go study jazz.
Yes.
And this was something that I could never do. I just said I'll never be able to learn this. The rhythm's too hard, the harmony's too hard, the blah is too hard. This is why this is fascinating. I'll read a little bit of it if I could, because you said I had to let go of my ego. That was begin. That was when I began to learn. Before that, I was just fighting.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you have to admit that you are a beginner
Mm.
uh, in a field where it's impossible for your mind to say I'm a beginner because you have been doing like plenty of years of guitar. So your mind is like you're not a beginner.
Right.
No way.
Yeah.
You know how to play. And then the day you manage to disconnect this and just say, okay, I am a beginner in jazz. I don't know how to improvise. I don't know how to do this. I don't
Mm.
know how to do that. And then the first time I did that, I told my teacher, please consider I'm a beginner. So don't tell, oh, you know this girl. No, I don't
Yeah.
know. Explain me the root, the basics. I don't know anything. Just let's try from the start.
Yeah.
And this is very refreshing when
Mhm.
you are able to do this, but not only in plenty of fields. So then when I did that, then I took some improvisation theater class, and I was a beginner, definitely. But then I was like, okay, so this is the same. I need to learn again basics. And then every new things I've learned, I'm always like, okay, let's start. And of course, for the first year, it's going to be awful. What
Mhm.
I'm going to do, it's not going to be neither artistic or nice or presentable. I do it just for myself. And who knows where it will brings me. And I am not a jazz woman. I am
Mhm.
not at all. It would take me like I don't know, again, a whole life to
Okay.
become. But it gives me so much to know things, to learn things, and to know like when I will be retired, if I can have another life, I learn again something, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree
it's
with you, the thing about life, because I I felt like one of my fears was I think I know too much about what it takes to be a guitarist to want to start another thing to be a jazz guitarist or a flamenco guitarist.
yeah. So and with this with things, so you never start anything. And
Yeah.
in our classical repertoire, there are plenty of influence. So the more you know about more styles, the better.
That's right. Yeah, I got a lot of questions from my students who wanted to know about that because one student, I think it was Gina. Gina was asking like, how can we encourage people to have an open mind when being introduced to music or art from foreign culture?
To have an open mind. So first of all, I would say, so from the part of the teacher,
Mm.
um, I would suggest to really break all the previous ideas about stuff. So I don't know. Some people say I don't like. I don't know. I've never heard this, but imagine you say I don't like flamenco. whatever. So then a teacher could say, okay, you don't like flamenco? Take this CD, and by chance you give Paco de Lucia or Vicente Amigo,
Yeah.
and just say, just listen to this.
Yeah.
So just saying, before saying you don't like, what do you know about this? So what have you heard? Did you hear like the best of the best?
Right.
And then, okay, if you say you don't like, okay. So this is first to like open fields with really good quality of different fields. Now, as a student, to have an open mind is, I think, the requirement of becoming a professional in any field. You need curiosity.
Mhm.
So without curiosity, it's like everything is dry. So you just say, okay, I've done this, it's finished, that's it. I don't need anything else. No, it's like, and for this, as a student, if you are inspired by some teachers that open doors and not the opposite,
Right. Right.
and say, okay, did you listen to this version? Okay, do you like it? Okay, if you hate it, that's good. Why? And puff, puff, puff. This fingering, why do you do that? And why not? And with this why question all the time, just deconstructing everything you think you already know, when in fact, there is plenty of possibility.
Mhm. Yeah. And you mentioned your teacher. What was your teacher, that was your first teacher, very open to these things?
I don't know, because it's a long time ago.
Sure. And you were just a child, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it was very open in terms of like, just for instance, for fingerings,
Mhm.
he would say, okay, let's search for fingerings, and he would let me find new fingerings when I was even 7 or 8 years old,
Mhm.
and we would write them together. So this is a very open mind way
It is.
of doing things.
That's right. Right.
And
For the people who actually don't quite understand what we're talking about, fingerings are the writing on the page, the fingers you use to play the notes, press the notes. And there's one mentality maybe 30 years ago where you must use the, let's say, Segovia fingerings. You must use those fingerings, right?
so yeah, so it's a way to say, okay, how do you do things, and do it your own way, and then we will see.
Mm.
So and also I remember with also different teachers, some people would say play this, and now play this, for instance, instead of forte, play it really piano, really soft. And then, what do you prefer? What could we do? Where could we go? So it's again this opening doors.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. And also in that Cleveland piece, you said something that struck me. You said your teacher, never told me or my parents that I was gifted. Then after I finished my diploma at 16, 14, 16,
14, yeah.
14, he said, okay, Gaelle, okay, Gaelle has talent. And for me, this is very healthy because I was never overexposed. Okay, here's a strange question, because I feel like in our current culture, there's sort of an emphasis over coddling of children. We want to sort of be overly compassionate, and that can have a negative effect or something like that. So do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Ah,
It's okay.
I think it was in silence.
No problem. It's real. This is real.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So, I think it's very important when you build up as a child, teenager, and grow up. How would I say, like to keep the music as something kind of simple, without all the etiquettes of gifted, talented, young promise, blah blah blah, and just do build your hands, build
Mhm.
your technique, build your musical understanding, build your musical theory,
Mm.
history of music, and listening music, going to concerts, and keep it really simple.
Mm.
So if you are exposed, I don't know, like when you are very young, and we all know that because you can see that. So then there is always this very difficult thing, like you are like this, and then when you are 20 and you go to 30 and then you go to 40, it's like you are not young anymore, and it's a problem because everything is built on this. You are young, so you are better, and it's absolutely not about that. Music is a long-term career, a long one, and sometimes we can play until very very old, So the thing is to build nice projects, to understand the best as you can the music, to meet amazing people you can make music with, to compose music, to arrange music, to record music. So it's huge and long. So there is no rush of saying, I don't know, I've won competition when I'm 11 or 12. No one cares.
That's right.
No one.
Yeah.
But what we care is what you're going to do all your life, what you're going to build. If you're a teacher, what you're going to transmit. So if you're going to arrange music, what you're going to give other people and audience. So I don't know, it's important to, I think, really to protect children and really young people from this overexposure, because then you get exposure and you play, and it's good, you already are more mature, you can get also feedback, and like it's important to just play when you are a kid, play in the bigger meaning,
Yeah.
and care about anything else than play, being happy and no pressure.
That is beautiful. I do agree with that. Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned playing with people, right? And that's one of the biggest problems with guitar, as you know. And you were I don't know why I somehow connected the dots because one of my friends is one of your performance partners, Boris Gaelle.
Yes.
Yeah. And so this is a very strange collaboration. This isn't a guitar duet or a violin, we're playing piazzolla, something like this. So I want to ask you about Crazy Nails, please.
Yeah. So Crazy Nails is like also the result of all these new things I've been learning. So after this travel to Brazil, I went back in the plane and I said, okay, there is plenty of things I want to learn. And among them, like Brazilian music, jazz, theater, tap dancing, clown, so plenty. And it's like been now like 14 years, like every year I try to do a new skill, even just for me, just to be a beginner, level 1, but just to do it as a challenge. And at some point, my idea was to make like a one-woman show about guitar. But I found it was really difficult to start just by myself. So at that time, I just arrived in Brussels and I met Boris and we became really good friends. And it was so funny all the time. I was just like, okay, maybe it could be the person to do this show with. It could be a good combination, because I'm always smiling and he was always, very serious but so funny.
Yes, that's right. He's very serious but kind of Brazilian.
Keaton, go with me. So I proposed him, okay, I'm going to build a show, so would you be interested? We're going to play any kind of music from classical to hard rock music. We're going to move. We need to play standing. We need to do plenty of stuff. And he was so crazy as to say yes.
Yes.
And then we started rehearsing for 3 years to learn all the skills, to be trained also as in theater, so really to learn to do this new job. And we built Crazy Nails like this.
What was it like how did that happen? Did you and Boris go to a theater instructor or something like this, a school, and say, this is who we are, or this is what we're trying to do? How did that unfold?
Yeah, we found like a theater director. In fact, we changed like 3 times to find the good one, because it's not easy. And we just told him, we are not professional comedians, we are not. But we play guitar, we play this, we have ideas, so can you help us to build a show? And he said yes also. That was crazy.
And for the people who don't kind of understand what Crazy Nails is about, this is I call it like a Saturday Night Live meets classical meets guitar in this sense. And I wonder if sort of the first version of it on the internet was Igudusman and Jew with the violin and the piano. Are you familiar with them?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And totally. So when I saw your thing, I thought, okay, this is great, because it seems like we need a new iteration of Igudusman and Jew. And when I use Igudusman and Jew in some of my assignments in my music appreciation class. And of course, you would expect most students to be surprised by this, because everything is very Mozart and, very Thai and very nice. And then they see these two clowns and doing funny things with Rachmaninoff, and people appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. And also, like the deal was, we wanted to play amazing music that we both liked. Also, that was in the choice of the playlist. We had to say yes, both of us.
Mhm.
So that was the requisite number one. It has to be really like very well played, whatever. So even if we are on the floor, you need to play it perfect.
Yes.
Because comedy doesn't mean the quality of the music is less. So on the contrary, it should be like top, and also make people laugh. It's the most difficult thing on the planet.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
learned that it's about rhythm, it's about building something, making a shift, something unexpected, waiting or not. So it's in the show is like written,
Yeah.
and then sometimes we have accidents. So once I lost my shoes, and it was I don't know how, and then people laughed so much, and I was like, "This is so not. I didn't plan it." And then I tried home to rehearse it to lose my shoe again because an accident is something you just take and practice, and then it takes 10 hours to understand how you can lose the shoes without someone noticing you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. My when I watch stand-up comedy, I have the same feeling. I can't help but listen to stand-up comedy with a musical ear. And some of my favorite sets, they sound like symphonies because they have that arc. So that's on the large scale, right? And of course the small on the small phrase scale, those exist too. And then what you just said about your shoe, rehearsing it. I mean, there was one comedian who said something like he needs to make the audience feel like he's trying to struggle through the words, even though he knows exactly what he's going to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so beautiful, the art forms. Actually, I would say listening to stand-up comedians talk about stand-up comedy and how they make music, make comedy has
Yes,
been so helpful.
totally.
Yeah.
And this is the same way I build also like my recital program. I really write it down like exactly an arch
Yeah.
and checking like, okay, we are starting like this. This is the main piece I want to really show. And then a little break and then till the end. So I really write it down with energy. And also when my students prepare like their exam program, we also do like a scam. We think about things and this is so important.
You just reminded me, maybe we should talk about your program. We got off on seven tangents. What are you gonna play? Okay, very quickly, what are you gonna play in the US for us?
So for this tour, I present my last CD. It's called Tu'u. So it's a nickname of Heitor Villalobos. It means little flame. And it's a program around Villalobos and the composers that has been influencing him and also the composers that has been influenced by him. So it's like the roots, the tree, Villalobos, and then the fruits. Gismonti, Garotto, and Hollandians. So
I love your Garoto.
thank you.
Yeah, I love it. It's
Definitely,
exciting
this
to,
kind of piece, when I heard it first time, I was like, I want to play this.
yeah.
And it's not I like this piece, I just love this piece. So it's
Yeah, my first introduction to Lamentos was Rafael Rabello, and
yes.
my brain exploded. Yeah, I didn't know the guitar could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, I want to talk about one of some of your projects. The first one is Women in the Guitar.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let me backtrack a little bit. I want to go back to Alessandria because what year did you win the Alessandria competition?
98,
98. Yeah.
it's the other
And
century.
well, no, but I mean, I think it's notable that you were the first woman guitarist to win Alessandria. And
No, no,
then
no. I
no,
was not the first woman to win
I
it.
see.
No, 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 no. I think Filomena Moretti won it a few years before,
Okay.
but maybe there were not that many, but
Yeah.
I wasn't the first one.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
Well, that's okay.
And so now but it's if you zoom out, it's also very rare for women to be winning guitar competitions, just sort of,
Totally.
yeah, right? And for example, the GFA, you can't find that many.
No, I know.
Yeah, Byung-Kun and Martha, right?
Mhm.
A couple of them. So anyways, what is it about why do you think there's so few, and is it difficult, and can you say something about that and tie it into your project if you could?
Yeah, so it's like it's a whole topic.
Yeah.
So I think it starts really young when young women just project themselves as professional.
Yeah.
So first of all, they did way more role models,
Mm.
way more. So when you see festivals, and in the States, I think it's more balanced than sometimes in Europe. I can see programmers are really making efforts, and I barely see a 100% male poster,
Mm.
barely in the States. I think not anymore because I'm really looking everywhere. Not only me, but many other women. We are checking like what people are doing just to talk to them, not to
Sure.
criticize, just to say, okay, are you aware there is an issue with that?
Mhm.
So first of all, for young women to see, if you see more people, more women on stage, you can project yourself as a professional. Then I see many women practicing guitar, studying guitar, and then I don't see the step to competition or the step to becoming a professional. Plenty of them just get lost.
Mhm.
So with my association, it's called Gaelle.
Mhm.
We are trying to find now some funds to make some statistics to understand why and surveys why, where are they? Why are we losing tracks? Why don't they trust in themselves to become professional? Why sometimes they are not coached by their teachers to go forwards? So why in a class with women and men, only the men are doing competition and the women just stay there?
Hmm.
So all of this.
Yeah.
Also, I can see that also with teaching position.
Mm.
I see that all the time with like really close people I know. So there is a position opening, and all my male colleagues say, "Okay, I applied," and the women, "Yeah, I was doing it, but maybe I need more diplomas and things that." And I'm like, just apply, send your application now, just click send." So it's like wow, and it's a more society. It's a society, a problem of society. We all know. There are studies that say like for women to apply to a job, she needs to have like double of the requirements of what is asked, and for a man, you just say, "I will see what happens there." So it's the whole society that has also to say to women, "Go, apply, do it." So with my association, also we are going to build like in the next future some mentorship program to help women, not only young women, like every women of all age, to really go to their professional project, to not abandon, to just say, okay, I want to record a CD. Okay, you have a mentor, and now you do your CD. You want to do a competition, you have a mentor, and you do your competition. So it's
Right.
just like action, action, action.
That's good that it's defined like that. I've always wondered because, you know, if you look at any guitar program, let's say there's 20 guitarists, and it doesn't matter gender, it's just for the broad view right now.
Mhm.
It's not all 20, even if it's a conservatory, a well-known conservatory, it's not all 20 will go to the competition. It's a small subset. And of course, from that, it's a smaller subset of women who will go to the competition.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about maybe, oh, I don't want to travel. Maybe I don't want to look for a hotel. It's too far. I I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
I don't know because it
yeah,
depends.
yeah.
I don't know. It's also sometimes some bad experience. Sometimes if you go and all the juries, which is something also that should change. Like if
Mhm.
you see all the juries only male, it can be also very weird. We have to say, but this is changing little
Mhm.
by little. Um, I don't know. I really wish we could have like numbers and reason and to talk about this and change something, to go to the roots of why, of this,
Mhm.
why they think like they don't even go to the first round. They just cut themselves before the first round.
Right. They don't even show up to the competition, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and maybe in the future also my goal, but it's when, because it's a really a small association,
Yeah.
but if I can make it grow also to, I don't know, give grants
Mhm.
for people to travel, to really just go, just push people to go over this first wall of the not going to the competition. So if you don't go, of course, you're not going to be even in the semi-final or the
Right.
final. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's mathematic.
It is
So
true. I think,
yeah.
yeah, people need different kinds of encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's a question of trust in yourself.
Mhm.
So for this, if you have a really good teacher that trust in you and also encourage you, and then you can go over it. So it's also make people aware, or I don't know, building also some workshop about self-confidence,
Mhm.
which can be, yeah, with a coach, or I don't know. So this needs like a huge effort to help people. And also this is this thing of being competitive or not, because the competition is a big topic. It's
Yes.
a big topic. Like every other time people ask, so should I do a competition? Maybe I shouldn't. I don't like. I like. I just say, okay, it depends what you need. So competition can be really good to make exposure about you, so people can listen to you. You also meet
Yes.
plenty of people. So I've met plenty of friends in the competition because everyone that I was doing competition with when I was young, now they are professionals. They
Yes.
are around. So we meet now and sometimes we work together. So it's a nice way to enter into the profession.
Yeah, I don't think that point can be understated because that's exactly my experience. Even though in the many competitions that I didn't go past the first round, people know you, and then it's that first step that's so, and it doesn't cost anything you've already spent the money to get
Yeah,
there to the hotel. So
totally.
yeah,
And you never know because sometimes you can also when you go to a competition, maybe someone you don't know how in the audience listen to you and say, I really like this person. And maybe after a few years, maybe you do it again.
right.
And maybe you get to the semi-final or the
Yeah.
final and people say, I want you in my series. So it's a good way because people are around during competition. So it's a good way to show there. And also to see, and it's also as a way I prepare my students when they go to competition. So you're not competing with the other, you're competing with yourself, which
Right.
is the hardest competition of
Yeah,
all.
that's right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and after the competition, what is important is from, I don't know, when you know the program, I don't know, 6 months before. So this 6 months before to the competition, this is what is important. Then you go to the competition and it happens whatever. But these 6 months, you are the winner if you do them. So when you consider competition like this, so it's not about winning, it's not about doing things, I didn't pass the first round, so I should stop. No, you have done the preparation. This is about it. And you have progressed. You have made progress. Obviously. Obviously. It's impossible not to progress.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's mindset, but most of the thing we do is also the way you do it. And we're in a culture of you need to win, you need to show off, you need to say to everyone, yeah, I've done this. No, not at all. What you are building, as I said before, it's a long-term thing. So
You need
this
to
six
grow.
months plus
Yeah.
other 3 months plus other 6 months plus meeting this person here who say, oh, I want to do a duo with you. Okay, tack, tack, tack. And then after 20, 30 years, you say, where did it begin? I don't know.
Right.
There,
Hmm.
there. Like every little bricks.
Hmm.
And when you see people winning and going to final, I can, and I know it, it's not their first competition. Never.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not the first time they present to this competition.
Right. That's true.
So I do competition since I'm 11, I think, because I like it. I
Hmm.
like it. I do it for myself. It's a challenge, and I like challenges. So when I did my competition, international one, it was like not easy. I was stressed, but I knew how to do competition. I would come, okay, my number, I have to play, okay, because I've been trained to do it. So it's
Yeah.
not magical at all. It's a
Mhm.
building. It's asking people also, how can I prepare? Asking for preparation. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. If I can share, but when I first started doing competitions, I was always confused. I don't know the chair height, I don't know the room temperature, blah blah blah, all the 5,000 variables, right? And it was very lucky because a few weeks later I had a chance to listen to Dennis Azabajic talk. And at that time in the late 90s, he was just starting to wrap them all up, all the
Mhm.
competitions. So anyways, after the talk, I went to him and say, hey, the chair's different height, the room is different temperature, everything's wrong. What do you do? And again, these are simple advice that I'll never forget. He said there's two things in life: things you cannot control and things you can control. And the ones you can control, you just maximize, and the rest you let go. And so I remember thinking that, okay, I walked on stage a few weeks later for my second competition, let go, let go, let go, let go.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it was a beautiful moment. Yeah. So
nice. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
totally.
you can learn a lot from, I think you're right. I mean, I see a thread. You're competing with yourself, and then you're learning jazz, you're getting out of your comfort zone, and you're letting go of your ego, and
Yeah,
there's
totally. And
something. Yeah.
each of these steps, first, it gives you a lot of satisfaction because I don't know, I don't know, imagine you are scared to travel and then you take a ticket, you go to a place you don't know anyone,
Right.
then you meet someone, and it's like, okay, you do your thing, and then next time it's going to be easier.
Yeah.
And then it's such a small world. We all know each other.
Mhm.
So, and then you will meet another friend. Ah, then you will go for, so it's wonderful. And the satisfaction you will get for this competition with yourself is just so big.
Yeah.
It's I think like if I have to kind of mark like my happiest moment in life, it's after it's the reward of a really difficult challenge. And when I did it, I was like, so lately, like last weekend, I was playing a new piece by Pierre Bensussan,
Mhm.
which is a very famous acoustic guitar.
Mhm.
And he played in that GAD, which is like instead of, so you have to tune the sixth string and the first and the second. And he told me, Gaelle, do you want to play my music? And then we will play it in a duo. He told me this 2 months ago. And I was so crazy to say yes. So during 2 months, I've been doing nearly 6-7 hours of this to understand how to do this cordatura, this crazy
Yeah.
tuning guitar. And I did it. It was on Saturday, and you can see my face. I'm still, it's like, I'm so happy. I'm so kind of proud of myself because it was so difficult, but I made it.
Yeah.
So now I feel like, wow, like I can give myself a medal just from myself to myself.
To
Say you
me,
did it.
to me, what you're expressing is the difference between joy and happiness, because the happiness for me is like short, but joy is just sort of sustains you because you overcame this huge challenge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. It's yeah, and it's so fulfilling. But and it's also what I always advise. It's like you now I can communicate about this because I've been through it. But the first time I had this feeling, of course I didn't know. So I always advise people. So for instance, when you practice a piece when you are younger and you really go, like when you really play it very well and you go really in depth to the piece, and then you have these feelings that once you play and you're like, whoa, wow, what was that? So once you've done that once, then you will just sit on your chair and practice because you want to have this feeling for everything you do. So sometimes I tell my students, they're like, I don't know, I'm not so motivated. I'm like, let's go with just one piece, just to the top, just like to make it like beautiful and to the top of what you can do. And then we will go to the others. Then they go to this level of accomplishment. They feel this wow moment, and then they say, okay, I want to do this with all of my repertoire. And they just go to their room and practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you need to feel it first, because
Mhm.
otherwise it's just words.
Right. It's magic, huh?
And it's magic.
Yeah.
And it's the same, like I was on stage on Saturday, and when you go out, we were so stressed, all of us. And I went and I was like, wow, this is so magical. I was so stressed 2 hours ago, and now I'm like, wow. And people were clapping, and you say, wow, I know why I do this job.
Right.
This
You
is such
deserved
a
it.
blessing.
Right. You earned it. Right. Right. That's right. Okay. So, there's a couple of questions that I have and some of my students have actually about traveling. And I think it's worth remembering that unlike Europe, a lot of the US, especially a lot of us in California, have never really traveled that far. Never mind sort of you go cross a border and then you're in a different language,
Mhm.
different everything. So the question's really uh as a student, right? Did you travel a lot, and did that affect your growth, and did that continue on obviously continue on your professional life?
Uh, I would say like traveling is like the core of who I am.
Right.
So, like a few days ago, I was in the train station of Marseille, which is
Mhm.
my home city,
Mhm.
my birth city. And I remember, like, you have this very clear souvenir.
Mhm.
When I was 7 years old, we went with my class. We went to a little village to stay there for 2 days. And this was the first time I had a little suitcase, and I was going alone with my teacher, but away from my family.
Mhm.
And everyone was, like weeping, and people were worried, and I was just so happy. I was just like, wow. And just to see like the horizon and just say, wow, where are we going? We were to this tiny village. It was not even something special, but and the train now I can say it was really small, really slow,
Yeah.
really old.
Yeah.
That was such a blessing. I was like, wow, what is there? And so I can totally say that it's inside me, this wish of discovering, of traveling. So of course I understand, like for some people Absolutely. But for me, it has always been. And then I went to study to Paris when I was 16 years old,
Mm,
which is quite young.
mhm.
Then I moved to Canada. Then so I've been living in different places, always making new friends, learning new languages. So always with this, like the first weeks, you are like, whoa, what is that? So where should I buy my vegetables? I don't know anything about this place. So and then saying, okay, I will get it. And when you get used, then move again. And so I don't know. I
Sure.
think it's really part of who I am, and it's good because it really fits to my job. And I always say, like, I'm really happy that I chose to be a musician because I like 100% of the job. So I like traveling, I like packing. I know I'm weird. I like
No.
doing my suitcase. I like booking my flights.
Mhm.
I like checking the contracts. I make the planning, blah blah blah. So I really like I like reaching a new place, meeting new people, talking to the audience, signing the CDs, doing the party afterwards. So, so I don't know. It's like it's I like 100% of everything it represents, even though sometimes I'm just so tired of the amount of work you have to do to build a tour, to build a career,
Right.
because of course I'm not only on my guitar. You are plenty of hours of computer, agenda, family life,
Mhm.
running this, that, sometimes being sick but still traveling. So just like it's not so glamour sometimes,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, I'm really happy because for me it's a balanced life because it's everything I like. So just sometimes it's too much.
I have a student, her name is Nee, and she asked this, do you feel lonely when traveling to places, or do you enjoy just you don't feel lonely?
So I would say in general, I don't feel lonely because
Mm,
I really like to travel by myself.
mm,
So it's really something I
yeah.
like deeply. Um, sometimes people say, "Oh yeah, I see a really nice paysage," or I don't know, like the sun is going down, and I wish someone was with me to watch. And I'm like, no, I really like to watch it. I don't even take my phone. I want to watch it by myself,
Mm.
just for myself.
That's beautiful.
So,
Yeah.
and I really like to read a lot. So, like traveling for this is amazing. Like for me, like the best part is being in a train with my book, nice music, and just going somewhere. This is perfect.
Yeah.
um, and but sometimes I do feel lonely, and especially when you play somewhere, you have like this huge peak of people clapping. You sign the CD, you talk, blah blah blah. Sometimes nice presenters organize a dinner or something, so this is nice. You can slightly go down and chat, but sometimes the show is off and you go to your hotel and that's it. So it's like you close the door and it's like so I had this once in Canada. So I played 2 nights in a row at Aranjuez
Mhm.
in a huge stage. I think there was 2,500 people. So you
Mm.
do the clap, clap, clap. You go to your green room, then you take your taxi and you go to the hotel, and it's like, okay, what is going on? It's like, because there is
Yeah.
no transition
Yeah.
to the real life.
Yeah. Ironic, right? The
So,
more the most people there, like you had so many people, and it was the most lonely, huh?
yeah, exactly. So the
Right.
contrast is like sometimes, oh. So then you get used to it. But what is really nice, and when there is something after the concerts, you can talk to people. Maybe you can have a nice dinner with some close people, and then you can go down slowly, and then you can go back to your hotel and then rest, and then take your flight back to the next city the next day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
also there is this, like you need to manage your level of energy.
Mhm.
So because you need to be fresh for the concert, fresh for the masterclass, and yeah, and I really like, because I think it's very important to give my best, the best I can that day. So you need to be with full energy. So it's a balance of all of this. But no, so I really like to travel by myself. But I have to admit, like when I've been traveling with other people, that I really you need to find like nice partners, like funny and easygoing. Also because tours can be really hard. I had also bad experiences. Like when you are with people you don't get along, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But when you're with nice people, you play in chamber music, it can be also just wonderful. Because
Hmm.
then, even if you are just left by yourself after the show, then you go to the restaurant with the other person, you talk, and you can debrief what happened, and yeah, it's cool. So
When you're playing in different places, like Europe and Brazil and Asia and America, like do you feel different reception from different audiences?
oh yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's very extreme. So I
Mm,
remember once I was doing a tour in Japan.
mm,
So it's always like the concert start with like people quiet, not a single noise, very quiet clapping, and then it was growing, and at the end it was like really loud clapping. And just after this tour, I went to Italy, and there I went on stage. I was not even before the first note, and people were like brava, brava, and I was like, wait, it's the start of the concert. Take it easy.
yeah.
So this is, I think, the most extreme,
Yeah.
like Japan and Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I really like it because sometimes you're like you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes when you go to a new place, you don't know people react. And I remember once in India,
Mm.
I didn't know like when you go out of the stage that it means it's finished.
Oh,
So they don't do the encore that we are used to do, so blah blah blah, and then
yeah.
you hide and then you go back. And
Right.
so I was playing with a duo. So we went out stage and people stopped clapping and they left. And I was like, what? What? So I just thought we didn't play well. They said, no, 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 because it's in India. I was like, why? You have to. So they said, no, you have to stay on stage and bend and bend. And maybe you play again, but never go away from the stage.
That I didn't know. I've never
Yeah,
been to
yes, that
India.
was. And then you can really feel when people so before I thought like when people really know the repertoire of the guitar,
Mhm,
they listen better.
mhm,
But I now I don't think that way. I've changed my point of view. I
mhm.
really think like if you care about when you go to a concert as an audience
Yep.
and you care about what is the show, about
Yeah.
the music, about being a good audience, then as a musician from on the stage you feel this.
Mhm.
And I felt like now after this big COVID crisis, there is a special mood now in the concerts. People are really grateful
Yeah.
for the music to be back and to go to live shows without mask or with mask sometimes. But there is something new. You can see people start again to say, wow, that was so missing during this period that now people are really like, I can feel there is a better reception even than
Mhm,
before. So,
mhm.
which is
Yeah.
good.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was also you have some interesting projects coming up, right?
Some interesting?
Projects.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Can we hear a little bit about it?
Yes. So the thing is like I always have plenty of ideas
Yeah.
and sometimes too much
That's okay.
because you can't do everything.
That's right.
Um, and in the last years, as I've been doing so much solo touring,
Mhm,
I just thought, okay, now I also want to do collaboration with other people.
mhm,
So a few years ago, I started a collaboration with a break dancer.
mhm,
So we are doing a really nice duo. Now I'm starting a new project with orchestra,
mhm,
but we play concertos, but with an ensemble. So really reduced version of orchestra.
mhm.
And we are planning now to record a CD and tour together. So that's really nice. I also have another project like which is very fresh, where we are going to explore French music of this period between the two wars, like
Mhm.
les années folles, and it will be with a violin player and a singer.
Mhm.
So yeah, so yeah, in fact, I'm full of projects, and I really like to build one thing and then tour with it, and all this collaboration make me aware also like many things I still don't know. I
Yeah.
learn to play new repertoire, I learn new technique and new way also to be on stage. So for instance, for this concerto project, my goal would be also for the we play two concertos, for the second one to play it not only sitting on the chair but also standing and maybe with a stage direction, so maybe moving around and with lights. So yeah, so it's a little bit crazy, and now I'm like in the the start of this project, but I think this can be really nice. So I really try to open doors. So no, you know, my concept is exactly for Crazy Nice. We started like this. It's like what is forbidden on a classical music stage.
Right.
So what we are not allowed to do.
Right.
So we did a big list, and we say, okay, let's do all of this. Let's
Yeah.
do all of them.
Great.
So we can't stand. Okay, let's stand. We can't, I don't know, yell on stage. Okay, let's yell on stage. So it's going really to the line, because in fact, on the stage, when you have like the spot on you, normally you should be allowed to do anything.
True.
If you respect the music and you
Mhm.
play it well on
Yeah.
top level, then. So we know there is a tradition. We know at some point we say the audience should be sitting, the audience should be quiet, the audience shouldn't clap in between the movements. But we also know like all the history of music just tells us that this is really fresh.
Yeah.
Before, like it was like like a sport show. It's like people were eating there. It was like after a violin solo, people would clap
That's right.
like they do in a jazz club.
That's right.
So I don't know. I think we have come so we have been narrowing everything to a really nice standards,
Mhm.
which is nice. Huh? I don't say it's not nice, but it's imposed. So I think we need to choose it again, or maybe change it, or
Mhm.
maybe find a new way. But always with music top and everything respect. It's to add something, not to take away.
That's right. Yeah. And also always out of respect too, like as you
Yeah,
say.
totally.
Yeah.
And do
Yeah.
things like at 100%, and if it adds something to the dramaturgy of what the music is saying, it should be connected to the music.
Yeah. Yeah. I my first instrument was the violin. So
Mhm.
playing the violin standing up is very natural. And then when many years later I went back to trying to play guitar standing up, I thought this is so free. I loved it.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
And your legs are like "Toot, toot, 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 toot."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So when I teach the big guitar class, that's what I have. I walk around with a guitar. It's so much better than sitting in the front of the room.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. And I don't know if do you know who Nadia Kozinskaya is?
Yeah, I
She
think so.
Yeah, she's somebody's I met her Oscar in Oscar Gaelle's class, and then so
Ah,
I
yeah,
found
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know she okay, right, right. So she has some videos on YouTube where she's wearing like a rocker outfit and she's
yeah. I
playing
know.
electric. Yeah, I love that. She's playing Bach on electric guitar.
Yeah, totally. And what I really like as we said before, like just find your own way. And also, of course, plenty of people will say, ah, I don't like it or I like it. But really, if you trust, and it's exactly it's what you like, what you trust in, just do it. Because what we need today, I really think it's like new voices of people really from inside and really with this huge belief of what they do. And it's a proposal.
Mhm.
So you need to propose something.
Yeah.
And it's just like the natural way we are doing classical guitar concerts. For me, it's not enough, but
Mhm.
for me, so I don't say you should do it my way, not at all. I'm trying to build my own way, and maybe I will change during the years. But I think everyone should just question, like, what do I, in fact, what do I want to see as an audience? And it's always what I'm always, even when I go to a concert, sometimes I always take my notebook and I'm writing stuff like, yeah, that was nice. Ah, yeah, and this I hated this. So I hate when I see these things that because I feel it comes from a tradition that no one believes anymore, but we still do it. You know, like when you see an orchestra tuning, and then the soloists come, and then the director comes, and it's like, okay, nice. We are still doing it that way, but why?
Yeah.
Why? So it's very interesting to ask this, and for students it's tricky because of course
Mhm.
it's also who you are, what you like, and you need to go to many concerts to understand what you want to see on stage.
Mhm.
And many not only concerts. I go to theater, contemporary dance. So I think I like 1 or 2 weeks a week. I'm there going to shows, any kind of shows, and always with my notebook like this was nice, this never for me, never.
The reason I arrange a lot of music is because I'm really bored of the guitar repertoire.
Mhm.
So what I want to ask you is how much of this comes out of boredom and on one hand is I'm saying I'm bored, and on the other hand, I was like, I want to explore. For me, it's I wonder if those are just two sides of the same coin, but I wonder if you have anything to say about that. Boredom.
Yeah, for me, it's more like in terms of like a scale of motivation.
Hmm.
So at some points in my life, I was losing motivation, like my inspiration was really down, and I see sometimes, I'm like, I, I don't see why I would practice this, and this for me is like just pointing out, like, oh, Gaelle, you shouldn't go that way, and then I'm like, okay, I need to do something new. So for me, it's yeah, it could be boredom. I never put that etiquette on it. Yeah, it could be that.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be that. And also sometimes I don't know, because I still like to play plenty of classical guitar repertoire, because I still think on some of them I have some ideas. Never said they were good or bad. I have no clue, but I still think, okay, I hear that, but I still feel my version is not like this, and I can I can bring something different on you. But on some repertoire, I'm just like, I have no clue what to do with that. So I don't know why I would spend, I don't know, hundreds of hours to practice this if I have no clue of what I would do. Just like,
Right. Yeah.
so yeah. So and so when I picked like Brazilian repertoire, it was absolutely not from. It was from surprise. So when I went to Brazil, I knew a lot of Brazilian music, but just like this in comparison to what there is there. So and I went to many roda de choro, which has this popular way. So you meet around a table and everyone plays. It's like a Brazilian jam, and they were playing music I had never heard in my life before, and I was like, "What is that? What is that? What is that?" And when I went back, my suitcase was like full with scores, with CDs, with names of composer. I was like, I've never heard this composer before, and people were like, yeah, but they're like huge. I'm like, never heard about them. And all these interprets like Rafael Rabello, Yamandu Costa, so all these amazing popular musicians. And then with all of this during years, I was like, okay, I want to play this. And then all my curiosity just poof popped out. And I was like, oh wow, what should I do? Okay, this is a piece for piano. I don't care. Let's find out. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But with this freedom.
Yes.
So I think I was never good in transcription,
Mm.
but arrangement, this is a different topic.
Hmm.
Because arrangement, you can be completely yourself.
Hmm.
So you can add an intro, you can add a conclusion, you can cut in half the middle and add the impro in the middle. Because you're not the composer, but you are the arranger. So you can really do plenty. And it really helped me a lot, because before of that, I was always like, oh, wow, this is not for me. You need to respect. So I was so respectful. And then I was like, okay, maybe now I can do whatever I want. And it helped me so much. So I would even say to people when they don't know what to transcribe or this, think maybe, I don't know, you like a piece, even Albanese, but
Hmm.
don't do a transcription, do an arrangement,
Hmm.
and allow yourself to do change the note, change things, add things, take things out. Just add something in the middle when you improvise. Take a few bars from here. If do transcription, arrangement, not transcription.
It's okay. Yeah. I was inspired to do it because it comes down to this. Whatever feeling I felt listening to the guitar, to the piano piece or whatever, right? I
Yeah,
wanted to feel the same thing on my own terms. And it was always going to be imperfect because I only have 6 strings and no ability to do anything, all of those things. But my desire to feel whatever Bach or whatever it was saying was so much stronger that I could accept the imperfections because
yeah,
at least it's mine.
totally.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find like amazing ideas, and I think like if you go through an arrangement,
Right.
then I think you can reach an amazing transcription. That's the way to go, make this and go there, but you need freedom.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main difficulty in classical music, it's because we are so rigid in the
Mhm.
way we learn, that like it's perfection, 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 and then I think we lose all the freedom.
Mhm.
And so when you lose the freedom, you lose your creativity. When you lose your creativity, you lose your motivation. and it's a non-ending of losing things. So just add some freedom
Yeah.
and go through that. So when you have like solid basics, so
Mhm.
then really it's really it's needed. And when you see people like amazing players, I think all of them, like most of the people I've met who are really amazing players, I would say like any instrument, they talk about this. Like when they found
Yeah.
the freedom into their own way, and then everything, yeah, it's water to you to really
Yeah.
grow and bloom. So it's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. I also believe that you need a solid foundation, but then
Yeah,
it
yeah, totally.
takes, yeah, it takes so much time to find your voice. I, I kind of jokingly, I say it took me about 10 years to learn how to file my nails, but it also took me about 10 years to figure out how to teach, and I'm still learning. I still don't think I know how to teach sometimes.
Yeah, so this is why also we go back to what we said before, like this long timeline.
Right.
So just don't rush. It's like little step by little step, just building, and never, never really like. Sometimes I have like, wow, okay, if I would have known that, like when I was
Mm.
a young teacher, I don't. We don't care.
Mhm.
When you're a young teacher, you are a young teacher.
Right.
Wow, c'est tout.
Right.
You're a young teacher. You need to see what it is to teach people, different people. Um, when you have to be angry, when you have to be nice, when to,
Mhm.
I don't know how to say things,
That's right.
and also the impact you have on people. So it's huge. But
Mhm.
when you're a young teacher, you have no clue. You're
Mm.
just like, oh, your finger, blah blah blah, and then you say, no, it's the whole thing.
Right.
Because sometimes, like in your most of the place, you see the students once a week,
Mhm.
like one day, and then the other 6 day they just go away. So your job is not only to correct things, but it's to infuse a little grain for the 6 days. And this, it takes years to get this. And also
No,
to understand how it works, like to give someone, okay, this is what you need for tomorrow and the next 6 days.
this is where I've always been more jealous of sports because
Yeah,
I play badminton and they're on the court all the time, 4 or 5 days a week, and I
we
want a
would need
guitar
that
gym.
too.
Mm. We need a guitar gym, right?
Yeah, and I think I always encourage my student to meet between themselves like
Right.
every at least once a week,
Mhm.
and they have to play for each other.
Mhm.
And I think if you could do that like every 2 days, that would be
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah. Yeah.
because you need some regularity.
Yes. And you
And
need a
this is why when
community.
you do a workshop, I remember when I was young, I would go 2 weeks because there was this long workshop, or maybe in Sierra, it's 1 month.
Mhm.
It's like you spend 1 month
Yeah.
listening to guitar, talking guitar,
Yeah.
eating guitar.
Yeah.
So it's like you just
Yeah.
you do that all day
Yeah.
with people who are doing the same as you,
Yeah.
and you can ask them question, and it's like, how do you do this? Okay, tack tack. And then one day you don't want to practice, but then you go to someone and say, "Hey, let's practice together," and and life is much easier. So now I have something similar that I have like it's I call her partner in crime
Yeah.
because we do guitar jogging. So
Mm.
we fix like twice a week in the
Mm.
morning. Her name is Elodie Buni. She's an
Mm.
amazing guitarist.
Mm.
She lives in Lisboa in Portugal. We meet at 9. So we let our kids in school, and at 9 we are in front of the computer with the guitar, and we say, okay, now this morning we're going to do slurs. Okay, page, we find a book, page, blah blah blah. 60. Okay, so we let the video and we cut the sound and we practice. Then we feedback. This was difficult. How do you do this again? And we do that for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, twice a week. You can't imagine. We have progressed so much, so much. And
Even
also,
doing
it's
just
someone I
slurs. Yeah.
yeah, we did slurs, we do
Yeah.
scales, we do like anything, any topics we want to improve.
Yeah.
And also because it's someone I trust, and
Mhm.
it's one of the few people I can say, okay, this I don't know how to do it, and
Mm.
you, okay, let's figure out.
Mm.
Because we are in a society of where we show off like we know everything, and I don't know everything. I'm not good in everything, and there are plenty of stuff I still need to improve. But with her, I just can say, okay, I need to improve this, and the same for her, and we focus,
Mm.
and it makes me feel so yeah, like you said, like in sport, like we are coaching each other, but without saying do this. So we are equal, but like it's really jogging.
Mhm.
We are running together.
Yeah.
But when you jog by yourself, I'm not a jogger, but I know it's really boring.
Yeah.
But you are with someone, so someday it's 9, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to do this. And then she appears on my Zoom, and I'm like, okay, okay, let's go for it. And then when we do difficult things, we cut the sound, but we see each other, so we are like, so, and then you say techniques become so funny because
Yeah.
we are just the two of us. So I would recommend this to everyone. For find yourself a guitar jogging partner. Your life is going to be so much better. So
I
much
agree with you. Yeah.
better.
Some of my
Yes.
best moments in conservatory were just sitting in a room playing
Yeah.
scales for 5 hours, 3 hours. Yeah. Okay. I want to change a topic now because I have some rapid fire questions because I have so many questions from my students
Okay.
and I cannot answer them all, but here's some that I hope should be short answers. So Monique wanted to know, what is your I made it moment? A strange question because
Oh,
I
there are
know I can't
plenty.
answer that.
There are plenty.
Yeah, there's too many, right?
Plenty.
Mhm.
Like the ones that pops me was like last Saturday when I played this Scordatura part.
Yeah.
Once was when I played Maurice Oana concerto
Mm.
in Alessandria final.
Mm.
I think it was my second time playing with an orchestra, and this
Mm.
piece is so difficult.
Mm.
And when I think when I finished the last chord, because I don't know, in my head it went so fast. I
Yeah.
don't even remember this final. It was like the stress, and when I did the last, and it was the end, I was like, oh, I made it. Really like, whoa. When was the last one? The last one was recording my CD too, because I recorded after many years without going into a studio recording. So I was a little bit afraid. No, not a little bit. I was very much afraid. I was scared. I was terrified. And I remembered, like in the morning, we did the mic, everything, the sound. And in the afternoon, we did already 6 track. And at the end, I was like, I'm really scared. It's like it's a long time I don't record. And the guy said, like very few people record 6 tracks in the first afternoon. So this is amazing.
Bravo.
And I was like, wow. And then after the 3 day of recordings, when we had all the tracks recorded, I was like, I did it. And I don't know, like a few days before the recording, I thought I'm never going to do this. And then you're like, wow. Oh, I have plenty of them.
I think that fear thing that you just spoke about is really
Yeah.
important too, because every now and then I get questions about imposter syndrome.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like the performers who are very experienced have been through so much stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I think, for example, auditioning for Oscar in Siena is one of the scariest things that I've ever done. 40
Total.
guitarists all looking at you. That's
I
scary.
know. I know. It's super scary.
Yeah. And he
Yeah, I
calls your
think like,
name.
yeah, yes, like the more you expose yourself
Yeah.
to this moment of action. In
Mhm.
fact, I really like, I think like we couldn't resume it more than like action. Always do stuff, really
Mhm.
do stuff. It's not about winning or succeeding, it's doing stuff all the time. And then at some point you're like, wow, I've done this. And without noticing, you are improving, and then you want to do more, because the more you do, the more you're like even if you have imposter syndrome, and we all have, believe me,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of us, sometimes you say, okay, maybe I shouldn't be here, but I already done this. It's in my backpack, so maybe I should try this new experience. So I don't know. Sometimes I do this kind of list of, okay, I don't trust in myself, but I've done this. So maybe I should trust just a little bit, and then I go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this war moment, yeah, I have plenty. Yeah, plenty.
I feel like the title for the video should be something like "You should do stuff."
Yes.
I'll think about it.
And be aware that you will be bad
Yeah.
for some time, and then improve. Like, of course. So be a beginner
Mhm.
until you get it,
Yeah.
until you have
Yeah.
your whole moment.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Let's keep on going with the rapid fire questions. Oh, you kind of went through this, but okay. What do you think are the most important qualities to be successful in the music industry other than doing stuff. I added that last part.
Oh, to be
Successful in the music industry.
persistent. Did you
Okay.
say persistent? Yeah. So
Successful. Yeah.
yeah, to be successful and to be persistent.
Yeah.
So never give up. Never.
Mhm.
Never. Because this is such an hard career that if you give up, like if I would have, I could have given up like thousands of times.
Mm.
And sometimes I really go down. I'm like, okay, I don't get what I want, so let's stop. It's just like I'm suffering. There is no need.
Mm.
And then I said, okay, no, come on. And it's this sentence saying like it's the last key of I don't know 100 that opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you are just one step from reaching what you want, but you need to do it. And I really trust that. So being really persistent, and something else that I will add nowadays that I would have never talked to before. I think you need really good mental health, really good, really good. So most of the time we talk about, yeah, you need to do technique, you need to build your career, you need to have a nice presence, play well, blah blah blah. But here you need to be really healthy up there.
Gaelle, what
Otherwise,
do you do for that? Do you exercise, or what's your diet like and all those things?
oh, so what I think is like what most of the like medicine would say, like it's you need to do sports, exercise, whatever you need to move. You need to have a good sleep routine. Whatever you need to make it good, you need to make it good. And then you need to have really good people around you. So nice friend, nice hobbies. You can't do 100% guitar all day.
Yeah, don't do that.
Become nuts. You need to have other things in life and to balance and to also always have a perspective on things. It's like at the end, we are very privileged. And we are also a tiny spot on a tiny planet and do tiny things. So it's little tiny things. And also having some people coaching you or doing therapy or just checking, because I think it's very of overvaluated, like the stress about being a musician. It's a very stressy job, really.
And lifestyle too.
Yeah, a lifestyle. So you can easily be like completely chaotic, and it's up and down all the time, and traveling, and so you be like, whoa, what is that? So you really need to find your own way. I do a lot of meditation. I've learned to do also um, hypnosis. I don't know if you say this. Like
Hypnosis?
hypnosis, but
Uh-huh.
auto hypnosis. So I
Oh,
can find a way,
wow.
a point where I'm really safe, and then to go deep. And so there are plenty of techniques you can learn uh, and find what is good for you. But this is so important. And I see it also on the long term. Uh, you need to have a really good mental health. And also during the studies, for me, it was difficult because I was very lonely, alone in Paris. This was the hardest years of my life, really. I wouldn't like to go back to that time. I was lonely, no friends, no family there, difficult teacher, competitive way, no one would talk to each other. It's like, whoa. And I survived, but I wouldn't go there again. So, yeah, so really try to make all your life balance, but it's not easy. It's not
Yeah.
easy. So, but I think it's a topic that we shouldn't no, it shouldn't be on the side.
Yeah.
So I see like nowadays people are more open about this, and also when you see students that are completely lost, I always like, okay, what's going on? So I'm not a therapist, but if
Right.
there is a big issue, you need to say, okay, before guitar, you need to have someone feeling well and being well in the guitar class. So
You know, I think a lot of guitar teachers or a lot of music teachers have been in that situation, and there's a little bit of lag. Okay, it's gone. Okay, and what I sort of discovered was, yeah, I'm not a therapist either, but I feel like something in our training, which is listening,
Mhm.
is very helpful because sometimes some of these students just need to be listened to.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Mm.
Okay, last couple of questions because I've taken so much of your time. All right. Here's a kind of a basic one, but not easy. What's an important tip for someone starting out how to play the guitar?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Mm.
Uh, don't play too much, but
Mm.
what you play, make it beautiful.
Mm. Don't play too much, but what
This,
you
yeah,
play, make
don't
it
play too
beautiful.
much. You don't need to play all the bars.
Mm.
You don't need to play the full page. You don't need to play at the speed.
Mm.
But what you play, practice it beautiful.
Mm.
So it sounds really well. Treat it very well. Like
Mm.
if you were doing like this building of a cathedral, make it really nice.
Mm.
So you don't need to reach the roof yet. Nice little steps, but beautiful. And when you care and you make it beautiful, you will improve your sound, you will improve your technique, and you will not be like rushing and fighting. I've done that so many years. And then I don't, no, maybe doing beautiful little, yeah, like slow and little is beautiful. Just
You know the chef Marco Pierre White? He said, "Perfection is little things done well."
totally. I
Yeah,
couldn't agree more. It's
yeah,
exactly that.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, let's end on that, Gaëlle.
Oh,
Thank you so
yes.
much. All right.
No, thank you, really.
Yeah. So you have March 25th in Los Angeles, and then March
Yes.
30th in Brownsville, Texas, and then April 1st in San Jose. And we're just gonna, I'll leave that information in the thing below.
Yes.
Gaëlle, thank you so much for spending some time with me.
No, thank you, and thank you also for the questions. It's really, I really like to share, and I think we need that, and we also need to take out all the, the glamour and things, and really
Yeah,
talk about what is really important.
yeah,
And that's the way young people can be inspired and motivated. Not,
yeah,
we don't know everything. We're just doing little things beautifully by little, and that's
yeah.
the way I think we can grow and impact other people.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I'm hoping to show with talking to professional musicians like you, because people only see us on stage. They never see all the other 23 hours.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. And all the struggles, and you're talking about all the sadness and all the loneliness and all the how difficult how the struggle was. I think it's very good for students to be hearing all these
Yeah,
kinds of things.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
not like, of course, we see the results, but
Yeah.
and so they can go for it also.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Gaëlle. I will see you in San Jose.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody else go hear her play. All right. Thanks, Gaëlle. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.